the cornerstone of helicopter flight: weight and center of gravity. Helicopter flight is a marvel. Weight is a critical factor. The center of gravity, or CG, is also vital. These two elements deeply affect performance. They also influence helicopter safety. Pilots must understand them thoroughly. A helicopter's total weight is key. It affects how much lift is needed. Heavier helicopters require more power. They climb slower than lighter ones. Fuel consumption increases with weight. Understanding weight limits is essential. Exceeding these limits is very dangerous. The center of gravity is the balance point. Imagine the helicopter suspended from this point. It would balance perfectly. The CG's location is extremely important. It affects the helicopter's stability. The perfect pivot: achieving ideal helicopter balance. Ideal helicopter balance is a precise state. It occurs when the CG is correctly positioned. This ideal spot is usually directly under the rotor mast. Think of the rotor mast as the main pivot point. When the CG is here, flight is smooth. Controls feel responsive and predictable. This is the goal for every pre-flight check. The helicopter maintains a level attitude more easily. This happens both in a hover and in forward flight. The pilot needs to make fewer control inputs. This reduces pilot workload significantly. The helicopter feels stable and secure. It responds as the manufacturer intended. Efficiency in flight is also maximized. Lift from the rotors pulls upwards. Gravity pulls the helicopter's mast downwards. This pull acts through the center of gravity. If CG is under the mast, these forces align well. Leaning forward, understanding the forward CG condition. In aviation, the center of gravity, CG, is crucial for stable flight. When the CG is too far forward, it can lead to significant handling issues. A forward center of gravity is a common issue. This imbalance can affect the helicopter's performance and safety. This means the CG is ahead of the ideal point. When this happens, the helicopter's nose tends to pitch down. It is often ahead of the approved forward limit. This can make the helicopter harder to control, especially during takeoff and landing. The helicopter will naturally want to pitch nose down. This nose-down tendency can be challenging for pilots to manage. This tendency can be slight or quite strong. The severity depends on how far forward the CG is. It depends on how far forward the CG is. The more forward the CG, the more pronounced the nose-down pitch. Pilots must apply aft cyclic control. This means pulling the cyclic stick back to counteract the forward CG. This is needed to maintain level flight. Without this adjustment, the helicopter would continue to pitch forward. One common cause is a heavy pilot. The weight of the pilot can significantly affect the CG, or perhaps a heavy passenger in a front seat. This additional weight shifts the CG forward. This shifts the overall balance forward. The more weight in the front, the more forward the CG. Consider a two-seat helicopter, for example. In such helicopters, the seating arrangement can greatly influence the CG. If both occupants are heavy, the CG moves forward. This can make the helicopter more difficult to handle. This is especially true if there's no baggage aft. The lack of weight in the back exacerbates the forward CG issue, or if fuel tanks are located centrally or forward. The position of the fuel tanks can also affect the CG. Fuel burn can also affect the CG. As fuel is consumed, the weight distribution changes. If fuel tanks are located behind the CG, trouble brews. The aft weight decreases as fuel burns. As fuel burns, this aft weight decreases. This can cause the CG to move even further forward, complicating flight control. Tipping back, exploring the aft CG condition. An aft center of gravity presents different challenges. It can significantly affect the helicopter's handling characteristics and overall stability. This occurs when the CG is behind the ideal point. The further back the CG, the more pronounced the effects. It might be beyond the approved aft limit. Operating in this condition can be risky and requires careful management. The helicopter will have a tail-heavy tendency. This means the tail will want to drop, causing the nose to rise. Its nose will want to pitch up. This can make it difficult to maintain a steady flight path. The pilot must apply forward cyclic control. This is necessary to counteract the nose-up tendency. This is to maintain a level flight attitude. Constant adjustments are often required to keep the helicopter stable. The severity depends on the CG's position. The further aft the CG, the more challenging it becomes to control the helicopter. This condition can happen with a lightweight pilot. The lack of weight in the front exacerbates the aft CG issue, especially if there is no front seat passenger. The absence of additional weight in the front seat makes the situation worse. Imagine a solo flight with a very light pilot. The helicopter's balance is significantly affected. If baggage is loaded in an aft compartment, it worsens. The added weight in the back shifts the CG further aft. Heavy items placed behind the rotor mast contribute. This placement can make the helicopter tail-heavy. Fuel tanks located aft can also be a factor. The position of the fuel tanks plays a crucial role in the CG. When these tanks are full, they add significant aft weight. This can push the CG beyond safe limits. This combination can easily push the CG too far back. A tail-heavy helicopter is harder to control and less stable. Consider a scenario with a light pilot. The lack of weight in the front can make the helicopter difficult to handle. The helicopter has full main and auxiliary fuel tanks. This adds to the aft weight, making the CG shift even more critical. Section 5. Forward CG woes, impact on flight safety and control. A forward center of gravity significantly impacts flight. The most noticeable effect is on longitudinal control. The helicopter will feel nose-heavy. The pilot must constantly hold aft cyclic pressure. This is to maintain level flight or a climb. This increases pilot workload and fatigue. It makes precise attitude control more difficult. Long flights become more taxing. One critical area affected is landing. During the flare, the nose must be raised. This requires aft cyclic input. If the CG is too far forward, a problem occurs. The pilot might run out of aft cyclic authority. This means they cannot raise the nose sufficiently. The result can be a hard landing, or even a landing with the nose gear first, if applicable. Control forces can also increase. The cyclic stick might feel heavier. Section 6. Aft CG alarms dangers in tail-heavy operations. An aft center of gravity is often more dangerous than it might initially seem. It can create a host of problems that compromise the safety and stability of the helicopter. It creates an unstable condition for the helicopter, making it difficult to maintain a steady flight path. The aircraft will have a strong tendency to pitch up, which can be particularly dangerous during critical phases of flight. This can happen suddenly and without much warning, catching even experienced pilots off guard. The pilot must constantly apply forward cyclic to counteract this tendency. This is to prevent the nose from rising too high, which could lead to a dangerous situation. This constant correction increases the pilot's workload significantly, adding stress and reducing their ability to focus on other critical tasks. It also reduces the margin for error, especially when flying close to the ground or in confined spaces. During acceleration or climbs, the nose-up tendency worsens, making it even harder to control the aircraft. The helicopter becomes very sensitive to pitch changes, reacting unpredictably to even minor inputs. A small gust of wind can cause a large pitch up, further complicating the pilot's efforts to maintain control. Recovering from this attitude can be difficult and requires quick, precise actions from the pilot. The pilot might run out of forward cyclic travel, meaning they cannot push the control stick any further to lower the nose. This means they cannot lower the nose, which can lead to a dangerous situation. This situation is known as running out of cyclic, and it can be a critical issue. It can lead to a stall or loss of control, both of which are extremely hazardous. Tail strikes are another major concern, as they can cause significant damage to the aircraft. This is especially true during takeoffs and landings, where the risk of a tail strike is highest. Section 7. Sideways stability, the importance of lateral balance. Lateral balance refers to the helicopter's side-to-side equilibrium. Just like longitudinal balance, it is crucial. The CG must also be centered laterally. If not, one side of the helicopter will be heavier. This will cause the helicopter to tilt. It will want to roll towards the heavier side. The pilot must apply lateral cyclic to compensate. This maintains a level attitude. Lateral imbalance can occur for several reasons. Uneven fuel loading is a common cause. Some helicopters have multiple fuel tanks. If one side's tank is fuller, imbalance results. Uneven passenger or cargo loading also contributes. Placing heavy items only on one side is problematic. Even the pilot's weight can cause a slight imbalance. This is more noticeable in smaller helicopters. Managing lateral balance is usually straightforward. Pilots should ensure even distribution of loads. Section 8. Critical balance, navigating near the edge of limits. Critical balance conditions occur near CG limits. This is when the CG is close to its forward or aft extreme, or even slightly outside the approved envelope. Operating in this state is highly risky. The the helicopter's handling qualities degrade significantly. It becomes much more difficult to control. The margin for error becomes very small. Pilots must avoid these conditions. When the CG is near its forward limit, problems intensify. The nose-heavy tendency is strong. Sufficient aft cyclic control may not be available. This is especially true at low airspeeds, or during the landing flare as discussed. The helicopter might not be able to achieve the desired pitch. This could lead to a high speed or hard landing. Maneuverability is also reduced. Conversely, operating near the aft CG limit is perilous. The helicopter becomes dynamically unstable. Section 9. Mastering the scales. Practical tips for ensuring safe balance. Ensuring proper balance starts before engine start. Thorough pre-flight calculations are essential. Never guess or estimate weight and balance. Use the aircraft's specific Pilot's Operating Handbook, or POH. It contains all necessary charts and data. This includes empty weight and CG information. It also has data for fuel, passengers, and baggage. Accuracy here prevents problems later. Consider all items contributing to the helicopter's weight. This includes the pilot and all passengers. Ask for actual weights, do not use averages if possible. Account for all baggage and its location. Fuel load is critical. Know the fuel quantity. Understand the weight of fuel per gallon or liter. Remember that fuel weight changes during flight. This will shift the CG. Be aware of how CG shifts during flight.